Hello, I'm CraftyAndy, and these are my thoughts. In light of the recent letter released by Square Enix regarding them wanting to force NFTs in their games, along with many other game companies, and now Walmart and YouTube might be joining in. Quick explanation, because I think they'll be gone or quelled in 10 years, or probably inescapable. NFTs are like adoptable characters you find on DeviantArt. Only instead of buying a original character don't steal from an artist for 20 to 50 bucks for your own personal use, you're buying a piece of clip art for $100,000 tied to a crypto blockchain. You get a unique number assigned to that said piece of clip art, proving that you own it. The truth is, most of it looks like half-baked shit, and the goal is to try and profit off of it by selling it to a person at a higher price, or make some t-shirts out of it, I guess. I don't fucking care. Out of the entire corpo puke spill, there was one line in this letter that stuck out to me in regards to user-generated content. UGC has been brought into being solely because of individuals' desire for self-expression, and not because any explicit incentive existed to reward them for their creative efforts. I see this as one reason that there haven't been as many major game-changing content that were user-generated as one would expect. However, with advances in token economies, users will be provided with explicit incentives, thereby resulting not only in greater consistency in their motivation, but also creating a tangible upside to their creative efforts. Simply put, why do art if not for money? Now here's a longer take. Let's break this down so even the most layman person who could understand this outside of creatives. UGC has brought into being solely because of individuals' desire for self-expression and not because any explicit incentive existed to reward them for their creative efforts. That is true for the most part. People making mods like Defense of the Ancients and Counter-Strike were not done solely for the promise of a financial incentive. It was a bonus. Now the possibility can be a motivating factor, but it being a mere possibility keeps most garbage from being thrusted into our eyeballs faster than Steam greenlight. It's the difference of, let's make something incredible people will talk about, as opposed to, let's make something quick and easy to take advantage of algorithms and impulse buying.
We've got to have money.
If there is no guaranteed financial incentive for such behavior outside of one-off jokes, things from the likes of developer Digital Homicide are not going to be as seen as much as they could be. Say for instance, Steam Greenlight versus Steam Direct. Steam Greenlight required that you get voted into the list of games available to download, as opposed to Steam Direct where you just pay them a flat $200 and you're on the list. Congratulations, you published the game. Woo. Blizzard comes to mind because in their case, they took away even the possibility with their terms and service update that would allow them to claim full ownership over something like Defense of the Ancients and give the creators some small pittance for their labor.
You grant to Blizzard an exclusive, perpetual, worldwide, unconditional, royalty-free, irrevocable license enabling Blizzard to fully exploit the custom games or any component thereof for any purpose and in any manner whatsoever.
Bethesda and Valve come next because they attempted to implement a system where people would be allowed to sell their mods on the marketplace. The response was so negative, they had to pull the plug on it very quickly, but not before a number of troll mods were made. In the next part of the letter from this corpo skin job, I see this as one reason that there haven't been as many major game-changing content that were user-generated as one would expect. However, with advances in token economies, cryptos, and NFTs, users will be provided with an explicit incentive, thereby resulting not only in greater consistency in their motivation, but also creating a tangible upside to their creative efforts. Using Counter-Strike as an example again, this brain-wormed executive thinks that we would have had 1,000 more like it if there was a financial incentive inherently behind the creation of such things. The idea being presented here is to have users make mods for their games and then lock them behind the blockchain of NFTs, allowing creators to potentially profit off their efforts, while I imagine Square Enix, Steam, Epic, etc., Coinbase take their lion's share of the gains as they rely on their customer base to try and make their shit games work better. Worse yet, they can tie in-game items and artificially limit the amount that exists, making them worth more, which is something that they can already do without a blockchain. They just want to prevent you from selling digital items directly to someone else without paying a transaction fee to the company. This idea of financial incentive creating more innovation is pure bullshit. When you have systems dedicated to a financial incentive alone, you get a fuck ton of more garbage than gold. Ever heard of this game called Doom? It's a small little title released in the 90s. There are thousands of mods for this thing. Very popular ones, I might add, including an entire 3D Sonic game called Roboblast 2 that controls perfectly. Then there's Abort, featuring a shotgun that shoots guns, a means to summon the abomination known as Tim the Toolman Taylor.
I'm gonna go this way. Oh my god! From the depths of hell itself, we have wrought an unholy terror.
And the screaming cowboy hat that forced the maker to take down the mod to avoid a lawsuit. If anything, financial incentive killed this mod, as it kills many fan projects. Imagine how much money Nintendo would have made if they just paid Milton Guasti, who was responsible for remaking Metroid 2, also known as AM2R, and just sold physical copies of that, and then released the remake they were doing as sort of like a remix. Or just worked out a deal over with the crew that were making a Samus fan film instead of cease and desisting it. There are plenty of indie games, good and bad, that are undeniably made with some passion and vision behind it. All the while, only 2 out of 10 indie games make a profit on average. Maybe some kind of grant or type of universal basic income can make it easier to turn out such games? I don't know, it's just a crazy thought. How much slop is hastily brought to the storefront of Steam, Nintendo, and PlayStation to try and make a quick buck involving little effort? Life of Black Tiger, anyone? Popeye? Croc's World? Anyone nostalgic for a Croc? How about bigger games involving companies with shareholders like Square Enix Marvel's Avengers? That was supposed to last for 10 years. 10 fucking years of grinding the same maps and levels for bullshit booster packs? Alternate costumes for your characters? Get fucking real. Hilarious, since I imagine people are going to be looking fondly back on Guardians of the Galaxy, something we'll get less of because it's not some live service bunker boulder dash bullshit. Can't help but think of Battlefield 2042. Gotta love how advertising revenue hinges on being overly generous with praise regarding big budgeted blunders like this when it comes to people who review the game. What we get these days are just general concepts of a video game with no end that just lets you create a second job out of it, where you pay them in the form of loot boxes containing funny hats and cock warmers. Think about how free-spirited YouTube was in 2006 to 2010, when the trending pages meant something, when you could see the newest videos uploaded. Sure, financial revenues were hard to come by, if at all, but we still ended up with a lot of interesting shit. When the early partner program did come in, it required an application and review to apply for it. I only got in after I made a Human Centipede review that scored 100,000 views over a weekend. When YouTube had their partner program opened up to anyone with a pulse and a video camera, what happened? The ones that were already established were pretty much fine. However, a bunch of other creative people just got buried under the likes of mostly born rich market manipulators such as J-Station, the Paul Brothers, and a slew of Spider-Man Elsa fetish videos promoted to children. There are still a lot of content farms that just recycle the same video types and just rearrange footage to garner views. There are still reaction channels that exist for some fucking reason. The ones that were established, I guess, before the big change when it came to watch time. Even to build an audience on here, the way things are designed, you better be on current events. No wonder why so many give up and just do live streams of video games and reacting to articles and other people's videos. And with the influx of budding adults who want to be influencers when they grow up, I imagine the bar for building a living wage audience on this website is going to be set extremely high for entry. Being able to have compensation for your work through labor or sales is fine, but when making money as the sole driver, you end up with nothing except some overhyped bullshit that has an artificial scarcity, kind of like NFTs. I didn't even mention NFT cartoons yet. In the 80s, we had shitty cartoons that were made around promoting a toy line. Now we have somehow even shittier cartoons built around the promoting of a NFT to dumb chicken fondlers who are looking to waste money on essentially nothing.
Keep up, boys. Later, habibis.
Anyone up to buying a house on Cryptoland? Oh, believe me, based on some of their ideas, they got their own creepypasta coming soon. How about collecting toys, cards, video games? Right now we have a scandal involving the speculative price hiking of retro video game cartridges, then people figuring out there are still interest in things like Pokemon cards and getting into physical fights over them in order to try and flip their overinflated prices online. Can a billionaire ethically exist? Not really. Elon Musk might be behind the funding of a lot of futuristic ideas that are coming through, such as a reusable rocket, Starlink internet, and electric cars, but it's still at the cost of exploiting millions of people who don't have a piss chance of having any part of that wealth, much less opportunity. Your job, even my job in general, no matter how big a company gets, no matter how much worth your company grows, you get no share in that growth. Just the same hourly wage with a 10-cent increase every year, if that. What's the incentive beyond doing the bare minimum?
It's a problem of motivation, all right? Now, if I work my ass off and Initech ships a few extra units, I don't see another dime. So where's the motivation? My only real motivation is not to be hassled. That and the fear of losing my job, but you know, Bob, that'll only make someone work just hard enough not to get fired.
If there was more profit sharing involved in places like McDonald's and Barfing King, I doubt we would be seeing the vast uptick in people quitting their shitty jobs that are tied to billion-dollar companies that could easily pay more per hour, have paid leave and insurance while still making a profit. And if the health insurance part is too much, then I suggest maybe looking into some kind of possible solution, an evolution if you will, maybe a universal health care as opposed to paying $500 a month for basic coverage. So no, Square Enix and every other company getting into this bullshit like YouTube, god damn it. Incentives involving the latest get-rich-quick Ponzi scheme related to gaming is going to bring about more garbage than gold. An evolved paywall that's designed to drain your wallet with manipulative design. And those awful shit smears in NFT cartoons and soon video games should be a clear sign of the quality one can expect when it comes to such grand economic incentives involving NFTs. I believe it'll become the norm though. As the bubbles burst, it's either got to be accepted at a 1-to-1 value as something real, either gold or the country's dollar amount, or it'll just continue on until we are all trapped in a nightmare of a system with none of the accountability and regulations that made a lot of the scams going on a little much harder to do. There are Inuyasha NFTs, unofficial by the way.
And you have a really good way you explain it about the copyright issue that everyone's afraid of, because they don't want to invest in a token that's going to be told to like cease and desist. Or well, what about logo likeness or character likeness?
Yeah, so trademarks. It's possible that the Inuyasha mark it could become scrutinized. However, we're a decentralized autonomous organization officially, and the token is launched on the Ethereum blockchain. So there's really no going back. I'm just a community member. I'm not an owner. Like there's really no single entity that has ownership over this. So I mean it's on the blockchain now. There's no going back.
If this keeps up, I imagine in 4 years the lawsuits and policy changes put in place to fuck the blockchain are going to be fined and sued to the moon! You know, it would be nice to sell some of my physical pieces here. Some are hanging on the wall. The bigger projects here in the closet. Someone explained to me how a image of this is somehow more valuable as a NFT compared to how it is now. How about you just pay me to make you some art? How about that? You want something original? You want an original ape? I can draw you a designer ape. $100 versus 100,000 and you'll have one. And only one regards of how many people right click and save it. It is still yours, even without a blockchain tied to it. I can draw you a designer ape fucking another ape if you want. Sky's the limit. Speaking of sky, here's 2 gay sentient jets fucking in the sky at Mach 5. You can have anything made to your imagination for just a few $100s. I mean, you NFT crypto brosivs care about paying for artists, right? Right?
Do you believe purchasing art transforms your surroundings into a pleasant expression of your personality while offering creators invaluable financial support?
Yes.
Then you're an idiot, and you're going to die broke and alone.
These are just my thoughts though. Like, subscribe, share, give me ideas for topics and or art in the comments or email me. CraftyAndy Patreon for high-res art, files, and sketchbook, and early episodes. Also CraftyAndy under the Art Pal store for prints and art gallery. This channel's mainly focused on entertainment and art, but if you want some real weirdness, go to the Weirdzor's channel. Check that out. There is also an invite in the description for our Discord group. You can meet other creators such as myself, live streamers, gamers, artists. It's all there. Like, subscribe, share. As I said, good day.